Today's topic is God, God, or Gods, the basics of religion. Today we have three focus questions. What is religion? What is the purpose of religion? And how do religions spread? Now to start off, let's have some fast facts about religion. First, 80% of the world's population believes in some sort of God or deity. That's a lot of people and makes religion a fairly important topic. This is broken down into 22 key religions, of which there are 5 major ones: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and then a tie for 5th place between Buddhism and traditional Chinese. So what is religion? Well, religion is the belief in supernatural beings or powers. These are creatures or forces that are far greater than humanity themselves. They are not bound to the flaws or the rules and natural law that govern us humans, and they're allowed to pretty much do whatever it is that they wish because they're supernatural. And to be a religion, you can't just say, I believe in this certain supernatural being. There must be some kind of practice or rituals, some kind of text, whether it's from a prophet or from the deity itself, that people can base the rules and facts about that particular god or how to worship them. So when looking at religions, there are 4 main categories. The first is called monotheism. Mono meaning one, and theism being God. So it's the worship of one God. The second type is polytheism. Polytheism is the belief in multiple gods. Poly meaning many, and then theism once again referring to the gods. Then there is something called agnostic. Agnostic is when you have a belief that there is some type of supernatural being, but you're not exactly sure which one. The term agnostic itself means A is without, and then Gnostic means knowledge. So it's without knowledge, that you believe there's some type of deity out there, but you're without specific knowledge of them. And then finally, there's atheist. A, once again, meaning without, and theist being God. So these are the ones who believe there is no God, there are no deities, there is no supernatural anything that forms or governs the people and this planet. Now, what then is the purpose of religion? Let's go to the whiteboard. So what is the purpose of religion? The purpose of religion is to first and foremost explain the unexplainable. To us, that seems almost like a petty reason because we have science. We have over 500 years, 1,000 years of science that explain why most of the natural world is the way that it is. But let's put ourselves in the shoes of a man, say, 5,000 years ago. This man would have cared about a few things. He would have cared about his survival, he would have cared about his food, he would have cared about his health, he would have cared about his family, making sure he had a next generation in order to pass along his belongings and to carry on the family name. So let's take food for example. He had figured out that if you plant seeds into the ground, that it will eventually grow to be food. But he's also realized by this point that he as a person has very little control over his own life or over his natural surroundings. Things like the sun. Things like the clouds. And the rain that comes from those clouds. He's come to realize he has no control over all these things. Or then there's the earth, the seeds that he's throwing down into this ground. Will the earth bring forth the food that he is hoping will grow? So, realizing that he doesn't have control of these things, he begins to ask the question of, how do I make the sun give me enough but not too much? Because too much sun and not enough rain kills all the crops that he's trying to grow. Or how do I keep the rain from coming only at the right times and not pouring down too much? Because too much rain, well, that floods it out, it destroys the whole crop, it washes away his home, and can even kill himself or his family. So you'd have to imagine that at some point he figured, okay, how do I appease these gods? Maybe if I do this dance. And one day he started to dance, and all of a sudden the rain started coming down. He made the connection in his head. I was dancing, and then there was rain. He puts those two things together, and then you see the emergence of rain dances or sacrifices. Maybe if I burn a certain portion of this food, it'll make the gods happy. Or maybe if I kill this animal, it'll make this god happy. You see all of these different attempts of mankind to try to appease the sun god, the rain god, the earth gods, the wind gods, all these different forces that man could not control. All of these are different attempts to try to make these different elements happy in order to keep himself happy. So, religion explains the unexplainable. Religion also helps to set rules and give order to the society. That with religion, you can say the God said that for the sun god to be happy and not to kill our crops, we need to pay the priests a certain amount. We need to follow this certain ruler. We need to do all these different things to keep them happy. Some specific ways of keeping them happy are prayers and rituals, which would be talking to the gods or performing certain rites at certain times, building extensive temples and monuments, inflicting pain on yourself or on others, and then finally, sacrifices of animals, humans, kids, babies, virgin women, food. You see a whole variety of different sacrificial options. This idea that I give this to the gods and they in turn give me whatever it is that I need to survive and be happy. So our final question is, how does religion spread? The first way is evangelism. This is where people share their faith with another person to try to get them to convert. You see this a lot with Christianity, you see it some with Islam, and with branches of Christianity like Jehovah's Witness. And the second way is by war and conquest. This is how the war and conquest model works. Say you have two people from two different tribes. These two people want the same piece of land. Their tribes live near each other. They probably have more in like than they have different, and they both want this piece of land, and this land isn't big enough for these two tribes to coexist. So they have decided that they're going to fight over it. Now, these warriors don't just view this battle as waged between these skilled warriors and who has the best strategy and who is the most strong. There's a greater force that they view behind it. They view it as a war, not just between themselves, but between their gods, because each tribe would have had their own deity that they believed in. So, if these two tribes are fighting, this guy would have had his god, well, this guy would have had his god. And the winner would get the right to say that his god is the more powerful god, and that the other's god, not that he doesn't exist, but that he's weak, that he's an inferior god. And upon winning, he would then not only get the land, but get to say that his god is more powerful, while the loser not only has the shame and humiliation of losing, but has to say that his god is small and inferior to the other, and will take this god as the chief and head god that he'll worship while being ruled over by this new tribal lord, if he's even allowed to live at all. War and conquest is at the heart and core of how religion spread.